I've been like limping along because my legs are so sore. A couple days ago at the gym, I started trying to implement box jumps and kettlebell swings into my workout, and I don't really do stuff like that, so I feel like I used, I don't know, leg muscles that I like never fucking use, and it's a struggle. I feel it heavy right now. So hi, hello, welcome to this new video. It's is it a vlog? I guess so, in a sense. After my last video, kind of ending it on a note of like, oh, I really want to, figure out how I can implement sketchbooking into my daily routine. And I've expressed that sentiment, I feel like, more times than I can fucking count. But I never really have done anything to figure out what that can look like for me, or, I don't know, experimented a little bit with how I can fit sketchbooking into my routine in a seamless way that I do with like anything else that I try to build a habit out of. So yeah, that's what this video is going to be. For the next 5 days, including today, what I just did right now, I'll show you. I'm gonna try sneaking in some sketchbooking at like different points of my day. I feel like, I don't know, the past year or whatever, I've really gotten into a good routine that feels comfortable and good. So a lot of my days look pretty much the same. So I have a pretty good idea of like what intervals my days happen at, if that makes sense, and where I can maybe fit some sketchbooking like between tasks or like after things or before things. So we're just gonna see and try it out and see how it goes. And then hopefully with this, like the goal is that like I can get a better understanding of like, okay, maybe if I, pair sketchbooking with my coffee in the morning or with my snack that I eat before I go to the gym or before bed, things like that. If I can like pair it together with something, then I feel like I'll have a higher success rate, if that makes sense. Maybe that's not the right word. A higher chance that I'll like remember to sketchbook, and also, it's easy to incorporate something into your life when you attach it to something that you already do or that is already a part of your routine. Yeah, today's the first day. So today I'm kind of starting in the morning, and then I'm going to work my way through and see what feels good. But yeah, today I literally, you guys saw, I got up, made my coffee as I always do, sat down and journals, because I feel like that structure and that sequence of things is really, it really works for me, and I really appreciate and cherish the time that I give myself every morning to kind of, journal, reflect, feel, observe whatever I'm feeling or thinking in the morning before anything, while, there is still like the stillness of the early morning, the quiet. So I really appreciate that. And then I thought I would try sketchbooking immediately after journaling, while I'm still finishing my coffee. So yeah, I think this was like really good, and maybe it's because this is the first one, so I'm coming into it fresh. I'm feeling good about it, I'm excited to get started. But yeah, this morning as I was like doing the rest of like my morning routine things, I did the dishes and all that, making my coffee, I was thinking about like, what should I sketchbook in my sketchbook this morning? And maybe it's the clarity of, a fresh start to the day, having a full night of sleep, not having to make too many decisions before that point. It's kind of easy to land on something to draw. I feel like the decision-making process of like what to draw when you sit down to sketchbook is maybe on the surface it seems like the hardest part. Like it seems like such a simple thing, like literally you can draw anything. It doesn't fucking matter because it's a sketchbook, but something about choosing what to draw sometimes feels very heavy. It feels like a huge decision because, I don't know, there's a lot of like sometimes self-doubt that like swirls around about like, okay, what should I draw? Should I study something? Should I practice something? Do I just draw something that I like or that I'm comfortable with? Or should I challenge myself, And oftentimes I just find myself like scrolling Pinterest and picking something that looks good. Or if I'm stuck in a loop of like indecision and overthinking, I can just like scroll Pinterest forever and like not be able to pick something. Kind of like when you're on Netflix or whatever and you don't have a show that you're currently watching and you're looking for something to watch, and there's just the possibilities are endless. So yeah, I feel like something about deciding what to do beforehand, maybe, or like even just like a general topic to kind of lead you into doing sketchbook, at least today, right now. That's what I did, and it was good. It kind of came to me effortlessly, and I decided I wanted to draw tigers because tigers are cool. I love illustrations of tigers. Whenever I see a drawing of a tiger, I'm always like, that's so satisfying. Tigers are beautiful. Like their stripes, the movement, their bodies, they're just literally perfect beings. So yeah, I don't draw animals often. I feel like unless they're super stylized and like kind of silly looking, I have trouble, I don't know, getting their proportions right. Maybe because like I'm used to drawing humans. So it's just something that I haven't practiced too much. But going into this, and I'm sure, like I said, like this being one of the first tasks that I do with my day has something to do with like the clarity that I felt and like the ease in which I could like go into this and take my time with, I don't know, figuring out the proportions, you know, drawing out all of the stripes, being intentional with each stroke, really like being slow and enjoying the process of sketchbooking. And that's really like what I crave. I feel like, yes, like part of it is I want to fill sketchbooks, and I love looking back at sketchbooks and keeping that kind of practice of drawing just whatever, like it doesn't really matter what, and then having that kind of archive or like history to look back on of like things that you just drew for no real reason. It's different than looking at your portfolio or like your Instagram page or whatever. I don't know, it feels like a journal or like a diary of sorts, but through just drawing random shit, even if it doesn't really mean anything. I think this was great. I had a lot of fun. Actually, I don't know if fun is the right word. It was enjoyable. Fun, like I wouldn't say it was fun. Like it wasn't like exciting and like, wee, I'm doing it. I don't think that's the right descriptor. It was just, it felt right and it felt good. And I kind of like flowed with it. And I think if I were to do this without a camera, it would have been even easier. Because of course, like filming myself and doing this whole process is a part of, you know, the tension that there might be. And so this being an experiment or whatever, that's like a piece of the experiment that I can't really control because I'm making this video. But if I were to do this without the camera, I think it would just be even more so. So yeah, it was nice. And I like the tigers that I drew. I thought up a little rubric that I can rank each of these sessions just for reference at the end so that I can kind of compare. And so out of 5, I will be ranking energy level, okay, creativity, so like how I feel if I'm like flowing creatively, distractedness, okay, and logistics. So that's like logistically, would this work out if I did this every day, or like, you know, shoved sketchbooking in between things, or like in the point of my day that I am doing it. Okay, so energy. I feel like, well, it being so early and I'm still like drinking my coffee, that's a bit of a downside, I guess, to energy. But then at the same time, like I said, like this is the first thing that I'm doing for the day. I don't have any like decision fatigue for the most part, right? So I guess it's like a balance between the two. Like on one hand, I'm still kind of waking up. It might still be dark outside like it was this morning. Now it's bright, but yeah, maybe I'll give that like a 3 out of 5. You know, there is potential to be very awake or kind of groggy. I guess it depends how well I slept the night before. Okay, and then creativity. I feel like this kind of ties into it being one of the first things of the day. Like, I feel like if I attempted to sketchbook like after I did a bunch of work or after I had to, use my creative muscles a lot and then trying to exert more creativity after that, either like if I were to do this after doing a bunch of other creative work, it would either be a good warm up or cool down. Like the work that I did before would be a good warm up to like, I don't know, loosen up my creative muscles. And then by the time I'm sketchbooking, it feels good. Or I could just be tired. And I don't really know yet. I guess it depends on like what I'm doing, how I'm feeling. But I feel like just based off of this session, I felt really good. The tiger flowed out of me. I feel good about how it turned out. And then even the second drawing, I feel like oftentimes when I sit down to sketchbook, the first thing that I draw is always the best and is always the most satisfying. And maybe that's because I'm fresh, I'm sitting down, I'm, feeling like I can take my time with the first drawing. But then once the first drawing is finished, and then I feel like I, want or need to draw something else or like do a second drawing just to fill up the page usually, it can sometimes be a little bit more difficult, or like I find myself rushing through it a little bit more. And with that in mind, like I did my second drawing, like still with effort, but it is a lot more like stylized and like kind of cute. It's just like a little secondary thing. So creativity, I'll rank this. I'll probably give it like I don't know if I want to jump to a 5 right away, but that's kind of what I'm feeling. A 4.5? Maybe I'll give it a 4.5 because who knows what a 5 is, And then distractedness. I feel like this is like peak non-distraction time for me. Like I said, because I'm just starting my day, I haven't really started to think about like what I need to do yet, or maybe that's just today. I feel like if my day was particularly busy, which it's not a particularly busy day today. I do have like work things that I have to do, but there's nothing pressing because today is not so busy, or I'm not really, stressed about anything today. The distractedness level was super low. But I could also see that like if I had a bunch of stuff to do today, and especially trying to fit this in, alongside my journaling, like maybe I'm short on time one morning or something like that, then I could feel a little bit distracted and try and like rush through the sketchbooking. So it's a bit of a toss-up. There's a lot of like what ifs around this, I guess, like trying to think of like the differences between days. I would say today, it's like specifically, distractedness was at a 0, so it would be like a 5 being like good, non-distracted. But taking into account like maybe what I said about having other shit to do, it might distract me, so maybe I'll bring it down to a 4 and we'll be balanced there. But for the most part, like I do think first thing in the morning, it's like you haven't really gone on social media, you haven't really done anything else with your day, you can just kind of vibe. And that's why I journal first thing in the morning, because it's just like me and my being and my thoughts. And then logistics. This kind of comes back into, depending on what I have to do that day. Logistically, like for the most part, I feel like my days are pretty flexible because I am, freelance. I don't have to clock in anywhere or anything like that, usually at a specific point in time, unless I have like a meeting or something super early. So yeah, I think logistics are pretty good. And like if I do have something to do that day, I could just wake up a little bit earlier. And there isn't, much else that I really have to do first thing in the morning. Like this time is basically for me. So I think I'll give it a 5 for this, because like I can't really imagine this ever being like a time issue, right? At this point in time of the day, I think it would be okay. So yeah, I think all in all, I really liked this morning session. I do feel like I'm more of a morning person than a night person, but we'll see. I do kind of think back to like when I was in school and stuff, and maybe this was just because I was like a student and like I procrastinated fucking everything. But I would get a lot of work done at night, mostly out of necessity because it was usually due the next morning. So we'll see. We'll see what the nighttime session compares like versus this morning session. But yeah, very cool, very cute. I'm excited to see what happens tomorrow with my slightly later in the day sketchbooking session. Okay, I'm going to probably start working for the day. I am working on a poster illustration that I didn't sign an NDA that I am not allowed to share it before it's released by the client, but I'm just not gonna do that because I probably shouldn't, at least not publicly. So yes, gonna work on that, and that's kind of like my big task for the day, which is an illustration task, which is lovely. So gonna vibe with that, listen to some music, and I'll check in later. The time is now 12:46 because I just had a meeting at noon. But before that, today my sketchbook session was kind of along with my pre-gym snack at like 11-ish. So now I'm about to go to the gym or whatever. But yeah, I thought I would try, because like most days I do eat some sort of like late morning snack that kind of like serves as like a lunch kind of. I'm not like a huge breakfast lunch person, more of just like I eat when I'm hungry, and it's usually Greek yogurt. So that being something that happens often, I thought about maybe pairing a little sketchbook session with it and see how that feels. So yeah, this morning when I woke up, I was thinking about what I wanted to draw, and I'm currently working on a poster illustration for a client. It's, I forget if I talked about this. It's the thing that I'm working on that I don't think I can show, even though I haven't signed an NDA. It's for a local theater that kind of shows a lot of like culturally significant films and things like that, and so they work with illustrators to promote series of films that they show. So what I'm working on includes like a portrait illustration of one of the characters in the film. And so the way that I'm drawing her is like it's like pretty realistic, right? It just kind of ended up being that way. I didn't intend for it to end up that way, but it is pretty realistic. And so I'm like kind of shading in the forms of the face, kind of, and working on that made me think of like, maybe I should study, the forms of the face or whatever, do some like facial studies. So that was kind of my motivating idea behind drawing a bunch of different faces just with a pencil crayon. Yeah, and these are nice. I just put into Pinterest interesting looking faces and went with the first few that I saw, and it flowed nicely. I feel like, so before this I did get a bit of work done. I got up, had my coffee, journaled, did a bit of work, and then around 11 is when I sat down to eat and doodle, and it was nice. I did have a bit of a concern that like having done a bit of work prior to this, maybe I would have felt a little bit fatigued, but I don't think it was enough work to make me feel that way. I feel like when I do get a little like sleepy or fatigued from a work day, it's around like 2 or 3, you know, like the afternoon slump. So yeah, it was good. I think this might work out fine as like an option if I were to do this every day at this like particular point of my day. I still feel like I have like energy or whatever. And so yeah, it was nice. It flowed nicely. Maybe part of that was what I was drawing, because I do enjoy drawing faces, and using a pencil crayon, it really allows you to like build and create forms. And yeah, it was nice. It was just like kind of brain off. I had some jazz playing in the background. It was very lovely and therapeutic and flowy. So that was nice. But yes, to kind of grade it on my rubric, energy, I would say, God, I wish I was writing these down, but I guess I just have to watch back what I said yesterday. Because like it would be great to reference what grading I gave to yesterday's thing, so I can kind of use that as like as a comparison. What did I say? I cannot fucking remember. Okay, so today I'll say energy. Honestly, I would give the energy a 5, just because like I've had my coffee. It's like a couple hours into my day or whatever. Like I'm awake. The sun is up, you know, it's not too dark. I'm not really like sleepy or groggy anymore. Yeah, it felt fine. I felt awake and energized and good. I guess especially too, since I'm like eating with it, you kind of, I don't know, it perks you up. Creativity, I think maybe I'll give it like a 4, just because like there is a bit of work and there is a bit of like stuff that I've done earlier in the day. So I can imagine like today when I did my little bit of work or whatever, it was branding work, which can be decently, you know, taxing with my creative muscle, creative wise. So yeah, it depending on what I'm working on, I guess, if it's a demanding task before sketchbooking, I can see myself using up a little bit of my creative juice, but still, like, it is early, and like I said, this did flow pretty well, even though I was working on branding work. And then distractedness. Distractedness, I would say, like, not really much at all, but then thinking of like, okay, I have done my journaling, I have done a bit of work, I'm kind of like in the middle of whatever I'm doing. So this is kind of like an in-between task. So I did a bit of work. I'm stopping to eat a snack. So the snack itself can be a little distracting. And then I know I'm eating my snack either to go to the gym next or to get back to work. So there are like other things that could be going on in my head while I'm doing this. So what would that be? I mean, it really, like, again, it really does depend like what I have going on in the day, and I'm sure that'll be the case with all of these time periods. But I'll say a 3.5 for distractedness, just because like it is lodged between two things, and especially if I'm eating the snack before going to the gym, I'm thinking about the gym, you know? So that could be a little bit of a hindrance. And then finally, logistics. Logistically, like I said, I do typically, you know, have a snack late morning, midday, whatever. However, I did find that when I was trying to snack and draw at the same time, like I wasn't really, like I snacked a little bit and then I was drawing, and then I was kind of locked into drawing, and then once I finished my drawing, I still had to finish my food. So like it was kind of difficult to do both at the same time. And if I were to focus on doing both at the same time, then it could take away from, you know, me being in the zone or whatever with my sketchbooking. So, and then I don't know if I'm having a super busy day or something like that. I don't know if I can, you know, break away from whatever I'm doing to turn my brain off of whatever task I was doing before and then go into sketchbooking. Like, it needs to be a pretty chill day. So, like, with all of that in mind, I'll give it a 3. 3 for logistics. That is my ranking. But, overall decent, I think. At least, like, for this specific session, I am feeling good generally, day to day. Had a nice journaling session this morning, feeling very grateful and at peace and full of joy and all that shit. So, so that's good. And yeah, it was good. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I really liked the drawings that came out of it today. I love drawing people. And I'm excited to see, the next 3 days or whatever that I'm doing this, how I will continue to fill in my sketchbook, because that's really like the joy of all of this is like, yes, in the moment doing the sketching, but then also you get to look back at it. And I don't know, I love looking back through sketchbooks. It's really something special, That's all for today. I'm gonna go to the gym now and then, continue the rest of my workday once I get back. Today's leg day at the gym. And I'm thinking about trying to squat and deadlift without my shoes on, because like I use not flat shoes. So technically it's better to, not have shoes or not use shoes with a cushy sole. I think I use running shoes to do that. So I kind of want to try lifting with like some grippy socks instead and see if that makes a difference. But it's a bit nerve-wracking because like I haven't seen anybody else in the gym take off their shoes. And like I know it's a thing, but nobody does it. So I feel like kind of, am I gonna look weird? I don't know. I guess it doesn't fucking matter. So yeah. Bye-bye now. Talk to you guys later. Oh my gosh. Whew, I'm just now realizing how hungry I am. I had a croissant when I went to the cafe, and I find that like I'm not a huge breakfast person. I usually don't eat breakfast. I eat, I don't know, okay, I guess somewhat of a breakfast. Technically at like maybe 11ish is when I start to feel hungry, but I'm usually not hungry like in the first few hours of my day. But when I do eat something early, I find that I'm more hungry the rest of the day. Maybe because like I've broken the fast or whatever, and my stomach is just like, more. So that's how I feel now because of the croissant. But yeah, hello. Today is the third day of my little sketchbook experiment. Yeah, today's timing or whatever was kind of planned to be like the midday period, after I had done a bunch of work, or if this was a gym day, maybe after the gym. But yeah, today I just went to a cafe place. It's like technically it is a cafe, but it's like in a like random business park. and they have this like lobby area that's really gorgeous. The building's really cool, and they have like their little cafe slash kitchen in there for like that company, but it's like open to the public, so I thought I would go and check it out, and it was lovely. It was very busy, filled with like old people. But yeah, it was lovely. So I went there and got a bunch of work done. I'm wrapping up a few projects before the holidays, so I have a good amount on my plate. And then now I'm home, and I thought it would be the time to sketchbook. Yeah, typically on like an average day or whatever, I have found that I tend to kind of break up my days between like a morning work session, and then there will be some sort of break, whether that's going to the gym in like the early afternoon or around noon or whatever, or like running errands or switching tasks somehow. And then there is like a bit of a break in the afternoon, and then I'll kind of like either work some more or have an early dinner and then work after that. But then like my nighttime work activity or whatever is more illustration based or a little less brain requirement, I suppose. So I like get all of my like hard stuff done in the morning. So yeah, that being like the typical kind of structure of what my days end up being, there is like kind of a natural break right now in the like early afternoon-ish. And yeah, I wanted to try and see what sketchbooking would be like. I kind of anticipated this one being a little bit tough because it is later in the day. It is kind of like that afternoon slump period, you know. I usually have a cup of tea right now, which I should have, but I didn't. And now I'm craving a cup of tea. Now I will probably make one after I'm done talking. But yeah, okay, let's go through the rubric, shall we? Okay, so energy. I think energy would have to be at least lower than what the past 2 days have been, because it's called a slump for a reason. Like I feel like you especially after like a solid amount of work, like a solid morning work session, and then if I do eat something, then I'm kind of coming down from that. If I am, if I would have gone to the gym today and coming back from the gym, that would have been like, I would be tired right now. So I feel like energy would have to be really low, like a 3 or like even a 2.5. Because like, yeah, this is just that part of the day that is kind of what it is. I feel like a 2.5 is kind of low, but that's what I'm feeling. So it'll be a 2.5 for energy. Creativity, I feel like it's a little low there too. When I was thinking about what I wanted to draw right now for this session, I feel like a good habit that I'm learning right now is that, going into sketchbooking, I'll give myself like a prompt or like a theme or something like that, or just like ask myself like, what do I want to draw, just so that I don't go into it so blind and then I just like end up scrolling Pinterest for a while and just picking the first thing that looks okay. So I did think about it, and I knew I wanted to draw some sort of like cool outfit model pose thingy, just because when I went out today, I wore my new boots that they debuted in my last vlog. I ended up keeping them out of necessity because returning them because of the Canada Post strike would have been $42 to send back, and that's, about half the value of the boots themselves. So decided to keep them, and they're fine. I just have to wear thick socks when I wear them. So yeah, I had fun with putting together like a little outfit or whatever to go to the cafe to match with my boots, and I liked my outfit. So outfits are on the mind right now. So I knew that was what I wanted to draw. But I feel like coming into this, like I did feel that my creativity juices were low, perhaps because I used a bunch of my like creative meter or whatever during my work tasks this morning. It just comes along with the tiredness that it's like a little bit more difficult to be creative when you're a little bit more tired, So I don't know. Like, I feel like maybe I chose this like outfit topic or theme or whatever for this today's sketchbook session because like I know that, you know, drawing outfits is easy and I don't have to think too hard, and that's kind of what like I like the drawing. I did, you know, go into it very intentionally thinking like, okay, I'm aware that I'm a little bit tired right now. This is the slump period, and I get that. So I'm going to try and go into it very intentionally and just work on one drawing and make it nice, you know, take my time with it. But yeah, all that being said, it is undeniable that like, particularly in comparison to the last couple days, I don't feel as creative right now, and that's okay. So I think I'm gonna have to give creativity also a 2.5 because that's what it is. Distractedness. You know, surprisingly, with energy low and creativity low, distractedness was actually not that bad. Like maybe it's because like I did just do a bunch of work and there was a bunch of like activity going on in my mind. I was ready for some stillness and non-distractedness in the sketchbooking session. So I did find that I could like focus pretty well despite, you know, not really feeling super energized or creative. So that's pretty interesting. I just like sat here in silence and did my little sketchbooking and I wasn't really thinking about much else. So, interesting. I would say that this was like pretty good. I didn't feel distracted at all whatsoever. So I guess I would give myself like I want to say 5, but I don't know if it was, you know, maybe it was just the conditions were right that I wasn't super distracted right now. But even being hungry, like I wasn't even thinking about food really when I was drawing. So that's kind of cool. But I will give myself a 4.5 for distractedness just because, yeah. I don't want to say it's a 5 because that's like too perfect, you know? And then logistics. I think this time as a sketchbook session time, if I were to dedicate my afternoon transitions between things that I'm doing or work tasks or whatever after the gym, I feel like it is a very like natural place to put a sketchbooking session. So logistically, I think like this would be a winner because it's, you know, like I said, it's natural and it does tend to happen a lot. Like whether I plan for it or not, these are, you know, this is how my day tends to go. Like, especially when I do go out to cafes and stuff like that, I go out in the morning and I find myself back at home by at least like 2, 3 to, you know, get out before rush hour and all that as well. So logistically, I'm gonna have to give it a 5 because like it's kind of perfect. You know, this timing would be completely like perfect across the board, I guess, if it wasn't coinciding with like an energy slump, you know? If I could have the energy of like being in the morning along with the way that my day goes and like the logistics of it, it would be perfect. But it's really about half and half. Working and not really working. So that is very interesting. Very cool. So yeah, that's all I have to say for today. It's been a lovely blue sky kind of day. The sun is shining, which is very nice. I think I'm going to have a little cup of tea, have a little snack, not anything too big because I'll probably just have a very early dinner as I do, and I think I'll go out and have a little walk. Enjoy the sun as it gets a little low. So yeah, thanks for listening. I hope that was interesting. And then I'll probably do some more work in the evenings. I feel like with the projects that I have going right now, it's been a very kind of like natural feeling workday situation for me. Like I was saying, like with my more designy work in the mornings, I'm working on like a couple brand projects. So that's like, you know, the main focus of the day. And then having that kind of split in the afternoon. And then in the evenings, I found myself, you know, feeling the energy or like having the space and the time to work on my illustration project, which a lot of the like sketching and stuff is figured out. It's just a lot of like rendering out and just watching a show in the background and just like sitting here with my iPad going like so yeah, it's been nice. And it's December and it's cozy and I'm happy. It's good. Talk later. Bye-bye.
Is that you? Are you really there?
Yes, I am.
What are you doing here?
Why, hello. How's it going, you guys? Welcome to day 4. It's right around 6 o'clock at night, and today I thought I would attempt doing my sketchbook session after dinner. And that's how I feel about that. Yeah, so ate dinner, had a pretty early dinner because I was hungry. I actually took a day off yesterday. I didn't film today. I was supposed to film today's sketchbook session yesterday, but I took it off because yesterday I went out. I went out bar hopping with some friends, and that kind of coincided with when I would have needed to do this sketchbook session, so I just pushed it a day. And so today I'm just like the teensiest little bit hungover and tired, and it's just been a very like low-key day. And so I feel like some of that is spilling into my sketchbook session vibes, and that's okay. So yeah, I ate my dinner. I've said this before, I'm rewatching Mad Men. So usually when I eat dinner, I like watch with a show or something, and then I just like keep watching, maybe have a little something for dessert, and just chill for a bit until I feel motivated to do something else or do a little bit more work, or you know, whatever task I decide to do until bedtime. But I thought maybe, you know, it could be a good opportunity after eating, while I'm still kind of watching the rest of like whatever episode I'm watching of whatever I'm watching, to play in my sketchbook and use like whatever I'm watching as the sketchbook subject matter. So that's kind of what I did today. I just like drew Don Draper and some of the other characters not very well, I will have to admit. And yeah, I feel like I expected this, you know, like especially maybe like after a meal, especially after a dinner meal, which can tend to be big. And after I eat, I'm like full and kind of lethargic, and I just want to lay down. So instead of doing that, sketchbooking, I kind of anticipated that this would be a little bit lower energy of a session. So yeah, going through the rubric or whatever. For energy, I'm probably gonna have to say that this is like pretty low. It's like lower than the afternoon slump session that I had. I'd give it around like a, God, like I'm thinking 2, but honestly it's closer to like a 1.5. A 1.5 for energy, because I don't know, immediately after a meal and it being like nighttime, and I'm sure like it getting dark early in the day as well doesn't help. Yeah, energy pretty low. Creativity, and like it could just be because like today I'm like feeling kind of like slow and blah because I'm a little hungover, but I could like see that this is like a reoccurring thing if I were to try and sketchbook after dinner, that like I don't know how creative I would feel if I'm just in like eating dinner and watching a show mode, you know? It is kind of nice because it's like kind of like a brain off part of my day. And so that can be kind of nice with like if I'm just going to doodle in my sketchbook. It doesn't feel like I'm really putting too much pressure on myself to make anything cool. Like I will say, while my creativity did feel low, I also felt pretty at ease with that, you know? I guess ideally, if I'm going to be drawing, I want to feel creative, but also there is something to, you know, just mindlessly doodling and not really caring how it turns out. Like that's kind of perfect and what sketchbooking should be, or should be allowed to be, if that makes sense. So creativity, I'll probably give it like a 2. That still feels high. I don't know, maybe a 1.5 also, because yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I was just like doodling stuff related to the show, like characters and stuff like that, and then I just drew my hand. Couldn't really think of things to draw. And what I did draw, like the characters that I did draw, they're all 3/4 view, just kind of chilling there, and that's, you know, all I could really think of, and that's okay. But yeah, it is what it is. Distractedness, yeah, same thing here. I guess like because I'm like literally watching something as I do this, or I just finished eating, and I don't know, my brain is kind of bogging down for the day, or starting to. I suppose it is a little bit easy to feel distracted, but whether or not that's like necessarily a bad thing is not certain. There is a place for very creative, very undistracted sketchbooking, and there's a place for distracted and more like brain off, not as creative sketchbooking, and I think that's what this was, like I said. So distractedness, I'll give it like a 2, I guess. It was fine. And then logistics, I feel like logistically it is pretty good, because like I said, I tend to like after I eat, it's not like I only sit down for the period of time that I'm physically eating. Like I'll finish my meal and then I'll continue to sit and watch whatever I'm watching. So logistically, like there is time to be sketchbooking, and like if I'm going to be sitting there anyways, then why not just doodle mindlessly? But yeah, I guess like if I am going to do that, then whatever I do draw in those moments will either be based on whatever I'm watching, or just like imagination doodling, which is like cool and fine. So yeah, I don't know, logistics are not that bad. I'll give it like a 4. It's a good opportunity, like time-wise, and it fits into my routine pretty decently. But there are, like I said, those little limitations. So yeah, you know, this is fine. I feel like all of these little sessions that I'm doing in the different parts of my day, I'm finding that like I feel like I could find a place for each of these depending on the day, you know? Like I don't know if the answer at the end of this will be like, okay, so I've decided that I'm going to sketchbook every single day as soon as I wake up, or every single day after dinner, or whatever. Like I feel like this exploration has been good in kind of realizing that like, yes, there are pockets of my day that if I can just like intentionally plan to be sketchbooking during those periods, it's completely doable and fine and good, rather than like not thinking about it or not knowing how to fit sketchbooking into my day-to-day. Being able to know that like I have options of like where and when that can be is cool, and that's what I'm kind of learning with this. That's all I have to say. I'm tired. I'm full. I feel blah, obviously, so the rest of my day is going to be very chill. I was thinking, like, it would be nice to get a little bit more work done on that illustration project that I'm working on, because it would be nice to have it done for Monday, but I do have tomorrow, and like I said, I am feeling kind of blah today, and that's fine. That's to be expected. I knew today was going to be kind of like a very chill, kind of throwaway day, so yeah, it being, evening, nighttime now, may as well just take it easy. Deal with whatever I have to deal with tomorrow. I think that's what I'm going to do. Thanks for listening. I'm just going to take the rest of the night off and maybe play a little bit more Cyberpunk, maybe just keep watching Mad Men, and we'll see how tomorrow goes, our very last day to test out our last sketchbooking session routine time frame test. We'll chat with you guys then. Bye. Good night.
I'm allowed to talk about it.
Okay, hello my friends. Here we are. Our final sketchbooking session of the video. Welcome to my bed. Are we cozy? Yeah, so for this one, I was kind of anticipating this session being the most difficult, like just because it's right before bed, it's after an entire day. I'm feeling like ready to just go brain off, like I'm about to go to sleep. Usually before bed, I just like read a book, or if I'm watching something and I want to keep watching it, I'll just continue watching it in bed until I fall asleep. So yeah, replacing that with sketchbooking is a nice idea, but I was kind of like anticipating this being a little bit more of a difficult one. But yeah, I don't know, surprisingly, it wasn't bad. I feel like, again, like the challenge of filming this while I was drawing this came up, I think especially in this setting because it's so dim. And I apologize if the sketchbooking footage that I got as I was sketchbooking is not the best. I was having such a hard time keeping my shit in focus, and like the angle that I can film in this setup and the lighting and everything, it just, my camera that I have is not built for low light, which I feel like is very clear, but I made do, and despite the struggles that I felt with, having to film this as well, I was kind of imagining what doing this would feel like if I didn't have my camera and if I didn't have to worry about the footage. And even with the footage, it did end up being like a very cozy session. And maybe part of that is just like being cozy and like curling up in bed with my sketchbook and being able to like, I don't know, physically relax as I'm doing this rather than like doing this at my desk or something like that. Yeah, something about the environment made me feel very comfortable, and I felt like I didn't have to think so hard about what I was drawing, or there was like, it was very low pressure, and maybe as well it was the subject matter of what I was drawing, because again, I did just bodies. I just felt like doing figures with like a ballpoint pen? I don't know what this technically is. I think it's ballpoint. But yeah, just like very comfort zone, very like, I don't know, I like it. Drew like an athlete, some other bodies, a face, you know, it all just kind of was nice and was chill. And, you know, for as low effort, quote unquote, this page was, I guess maybe compared to some other pages, I feel like I wasn't really challenging myself, yet like this is, you know, bodies and figures are something that I draw all the time and I really enjoy drawing, so I feel like I can do these things and feel a little bit more low effort. Yeah, I like how this page turned out, and I was not expecting that at all. Moral of the story, sometimes I feel like it, you know, you can surprise yourself with, I don't know, I feel like all day today, knowing that I was gonna have to do my sketchbooking session at the end of the day, I was kind of like, I don't know, I was nervous about it. I was kind of dreading knowing that I like would probably struggle, and then so having not struggled and actually having had, you know, a bit of an easy time with it and being able to enjoy myself, it's a pleasant surprise. So let's get into the ranking rubric. Okay, so energy. Yeah, so while this did feel good, definitely this is like my most low energy period of the day, most of the time, I would think. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I would expect, but actually remembering, you know, the last session that I did, which was post-dinner, I actually feel like I was lower energy then, which is interesting. Maybe it's something to do with like having eaten like a big meal or whatever and then sketchbooking right after, like I'm gonna feel bogged down, but I would think that like pre-bed would be pretty low energy too, but yeah, so yesterday I gave myself a 1.5 for energy. I think I'm like slightly above that, so I'll give myself a 2 for this one. And then creativity. So while this did flow better than I was expecting, I don't think I would have had the capacity to like do anything super creative. Like, I don't know how well I would have been able to do like imagination drawing or like challenge myself drawing something like particularly difficult. I feel like this session went as well as it did because I chose something to do that was very comfortable for me and I didn't have to use my creative muscles or drain any more my creative health bar. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll have to give it a 1 because, like, I don't know, it's the end of the day. And, like, today was a weekend as well, so I took the day pretty chill for the most part. So I'm trying to imagine, like, if I were to do this on a work day or something, or, like, a day where I'm a little bit more busy and drained by the time I come to bed, I would imagine that, you know, I just wouldn't have the capacity to think of anything super creative in these moments. So, yeah, we'll do a 1. And then distractedness, aka focus. I started editing this video today and I realized that I should have labeled distractedness as focus so that it would make sense that a higher score is better. So focus, I do think my focus is pretty, like, decently high right now. Maybe because I'm in bed, maybe because, like, my laptop's not around me. You know, there's nothing really around me in here to distract me. It does feel a lot more focused than, I don't know, if I was doing this in the middle of the day in between tasks sort of thing. So, yeah, like purely focus, not taking into account energy and creativity like I spoke about, my focus is actually pretty good right now, or was pretty good in this session. So I don't see why I can't give it like a 4. I don't know, that's how I feel, which is very interesting. Yeah, I feel like the focus or the lack of distraction has less to do with energy and more to do with surrounding elements or like atmosphere in a way, if that makes sense. And then logistics.
I would think that sketchbooking before bed logistically would be fine, right? But I don't know, just taking into account like the anticipation, the like negative anticipation that I had leading up to this, despite the session going well, I can see myself, like, if I plan to want to sketchbook more regularly before bed, I can imagine myself wanting to do that like earlier in the day. And then when it comes to actually doing it and then coming to bed and bringing my sketchbook to bed, like, I could imagine myself just not, because I'm, I don't know, tired, or I just want to read my book, or I just want to keep watching my show if I'm watching a show. So I feel like it would be very easy to just like not do that, or like not follow through with those plans, just because it is, peak, like I'm about to go to sleep, And then some nights, like, I'm just tired and I want to go straight to bed. So, logistically, it's not looking too good. I'm probably gonna give it like a 2. So, pretty decent, like better than I expected. I was honestly expecting like all of the rankings here to be super low, but yeah, it wasn't bad for what it was, truly. So, yeah. That's all I really have to say, you guys. It's 10 o'clock at night right now, so it is about that time, getting close to that time to go beddy buys. But before we do, conclusion to the experiment. I was thinking about this, and I was thinking like, okay, so for the end of this video, do I want to decide which of these sketchbook sessions makes the most sense for me, or, based on my like little rankings or whatever, like which ones I should follow through with and like implement into my daily routine? And I could see myself doing that, but I could also just see, like, having experienced sketchbooking at these different like intervals or time slots or whatever through my day, I could see myself just like planning my day and fitting in sketchbooking in one of these time slots once a day. Like, I feel like that's a good way to do it. And then with that, like, having this 1 week as a jumping off point, I guess, of like understanding that, like, hey, like, actually maybe sketchbooking before bed isn't impossible for me. Like, it's not hard. It's not that hard to squeeze these sessions into my days. So I think more than anything, that's what this little experiment or whatever has helped me realize and helped me learn. And yeah, something about like knowing that I'm going to be spending 30 minutes a day-ish in my sketchbook, it really takes a lot of the pressure off of when I do sit down to sketchbook, that like it doesn't have to be like hours long, or it doesn't need to be like a full session, and I don't have to make anything incredible. I think that's the joy, and maybe something that I lost touch with a lot with sketchbooking when I started doing it less, is that like whenever I did schedule in sketchbooking, or like tell myself that I would do sketchbooking, because it's such a rare occurrence for me now, I would think that I would need to make it like a whole event. Or like whenever I would sketchbook, it would mostly be like me going out to like a cafe, or when I travel, I sketchbook a lot. But then that's me like intentionally going out and like making it a date for myself, rather than just like a little thing that I can just do in between other things, or like at the end of my day, at the beginning of my day. Like, it doesn't have to be such a big deal. So I feel like that perspective, or going back to that perspective of like, that's probably how I viewed sketchbooking when I was back in school, because I would just kind of do it whenever, like between classes or whenever I had a second. It was able to be like this very chill play, and it didn't hold as much weight, and it wasn't something that I was like, I don't want to use the word punishing myself over, but kind of that, like punishing myself over not doing. So when I would do it, I would want it to be good, So yeah, those are my thoughts as we come to the conclusion of this video. This was really cool. I feel like definitively the 2 to 3 p.m. slump and the 7 p.m. post-dinner-ish sessions are probably not it. That I can probably say for sure. But now I know that like after journaling or with my little morning snack or even pre-bed felt the best for me. Prior to this, I was kind of thinking, or it was a plan of mine beforehand, that like I would fit sketchbooking in my 2 to 3 p.m. slump on the days that I didn't go to the gym. So instead of going to the gym, I would sketchbook. And that obviously didn't work because here I am doing this experiment now, having not been able to keep that up. And I think that's because, like, I don't know, I've learned here that like the 2 to 3 p.m. slump or like the afternoon gap or whatever I have between like working on stuff is not my best. It's a little bit harder to get there, or I don't know. It was a bit more of a struggle. And yeah, so I feel like if anything, that is a valuable thing to discover about myself and about my sketchbooking habit and how to build it into something a little more chill and a little less like such a big deal. This was helpful, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. And that's all. I'm gonna go to sleep now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. And I gotta thank my motherfucking patrons. Yeah, patrons. Thank you, patrons. Look at you guys. Hell yeah. Let's go, patrons. Woo! Shout out all you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Appreciate you all so much. As always, thank you so much. Yeah, if you want to get your name up here with all these cool kids, you can check out my Patreon at patreon.com/leechuts. I have a few tiers. I do behind the scenes extra little video things. I post like photos and sketchbook scans, and I do a video podcast once a month. That's one tier. And then I have a mail tier where I mail out very cute, very cool postcards and stickers to my lovely mail tier people every month. Check that out if you would like to, and that's the best way to support me directly monetarily with your cash. Okay, that's it. I need to sleep for real now. So bye. Good night. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Oh wait, that's not what I say. I'll see you guys in a bit.